Hi, and welcome to Danny After Dark. If you're new here, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss a notification or a new episode. Tonight, I'll be featuring the case of Kelly Ann Ryan. So let's go ahead and find out more. Let's go ahead and dive on in. Kelly Ann Ryan was born on July 10th, 1972, in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Kelly grew up with an early passion for fitness. She started at the age of 8 when she started to train in gymnastics. In high school, she was a cheerleader and played basketball. For college, Kelly went to the University of South Carolina. This is where she studied journalism. In college, she also worked as a choreographer. In 1995, Kelly entered her very first fitness competition, the NPC South Carolina State, and she placed first. She would go on to win 8 fitness competitions. So she became a regular and a familiar face at fitness expositions as well as in fitness magazines. Now enters the picture a man named Craig Titus. Craig, he was a star in the world of professional bodybuilding. However, he had a bit of a drug history past. He had served almost 2 years in federal prison after being convicted of selling ecstasy in October 1995. He had only gotten probation, but it was later revoked when he tested positive for steroids. He was released from prison in April 1999. It is after he was released where Kelly and Craig met. Needless to say, they had a lot in common and they hit it off, so they were later married. Together, they went on to pose for magazines and competed in fitness events. Some of their past accomplishments: Craig was a 1996 bodybuilding champion and Mr. Olympia competitor. Kelly was a past Fitness America and Fitness International winner. In fitness competition world, they were a power couple. Now enters the picture a woman named Melissa James. She was hired as a live-in personal assistant for both Kelly and Craig. She moved in with them in 2005, coming from Lambertville, New Jersey. December 14th, 2005, the charred corpse of 29-year-old Melissa James, their personal assistant, was found in Kelly's burnt-out red Jaguar sedan off of a remote desert road outside of Las Vegas. But where was Kelly and Craig? They went into hiding together, but they were arrested in a Boston suburb after a 9-day national manhunt. They were picked up along with suspected accomplice Anthony Gross. But where were they when they got arrested? Kelly, she was getting her nails done at a salon in Stoughton, Massachusetts, while Craig was waiting for her outside of the salon. Friends told police that Craig and Kelly used the prescription painkiller OxyContin, and witnesses had testified that Craig once bought more than $500 worth of morphine. Kelly, on her own accord, told police that she had also tried methamphetamine. In regards to Melissa and her corpse in Kelly's car, Kelly and Craig told police that they took Melissa into their home to manage a fitness clothing business that they wanted to start, but they evicted her after they said they had discovered she was stealing money from their bank accounts. But that wasn't all. Craig told police that he had had an affair with Melissa, but Kelly did not know about it. So now Kelly and Craig were awaiting trial in Nevada on charges of the murder of their live-in personal assistant, Melissa James. While they were awaiting trial, unfortunately, Kelly's mother had died of a heart attack. Also, while awaiting trial, their co-defendant, Anthony Gross, again, who they suspected as an accomplice, he stood on a separate trial and he was charged with arson and accessory to murder charges. But let's get back to Kelly and Ryan. They also went to initially claim that Melissa, well, she died of an overdose. They told police. They panicked, so they burned her body in the car and they left town, specifically because they worried about the publicity that Melissa's death would cause, and it would probably hurt their careers. The prosecution tore this apart in Kelly and Craig's trial. They stated Melissa, she was beaten, drugged with morphine or of a similar type of drug. She was stunned with a taser and then asphyxiated or suffocated with a fabric or wire around her neck. But that wasn't all. Her head was also encased in duct tape. Then, of course, she had been burned beyond recognition in the trunk of Kelly's red Jaguar. The cause of her death, however, was ruled undetermined by the coroner. We can see why, though. Investigators stated they couldn't say for sure whether Melissa was still alive when she was in the back of the Jaguar that was caught on videotape outside of a Walmart. This is where Kelly had bought a charcoal starter fluid and backyard barbecue set at 3:30 in the morning, or at a gas station where Craig, Kelly, and Anthony allegedly bought another $2.66 worth of gasoline. Anthony had only met Craig and Kelly at the gas station and it drove them back to Las Vegas after they set Kelly's Jaguar on fire in the desert outside of Las Vegas. On May 31st, 2008, rather than go through a full trial, Kelly and Craig pleaded guilty to reduced charges. Kelly had entered into the Alford plea to arson and battery with a deadly weapon that had resulted in significant bodily harm. The Alford plea, what that means is that Kelly doesn't admit guilt, but acknowledges that there is enough evidence that exists to convict her. Kelly stated in court, quote, "I am truly, truly sorry. I know I did not kill, but I did aid in the events. I know I was not in a state of mind emotionally or physically to make the right decisions or to, oh God, to take appropriate control of what was happening." End quote. Craig went to state in court, quote, "I am ashamed and sickened of my actions after Melissa passed away. I let drug use get way out of control in my home. I failed my wife, I failed my family, and most regretfully, I failed Melissa, who was my friend." End quote. Kelly was then sentenced to 2 consecutive terms of 3 to 13 years in prison. She was denied parole in 2011. However, she was released from prison in 2017. Craig will not be eligible for parole until 2026. In December 2008, Craig made a request for a sentence reduction, which District Judge Jackie Glass denied. Thank goodness. In February 2008, Anthony Gross, remember, he was Craig and Kelly's accomplice. He also pleaded guilty in the Melissa James murder case. He was sentenced. Now, Kelly filed for divorce from Craig while she was in prison. The divorce from him became final in 2009. That is the case of Kelly Ann Ryan. Thank you for sticking around for another episode of Danny After Dark. Do you have any questions on this case? Leave it down below. Let's be interactive. Do you have a suggestion for a case that you'd like me to cover? Well, leave it down below. You may see it featured in an upcoming episode. Until next time, remember, we don't live in darkness. Darkness lives in us.